Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the GeekVerse podcast. Welcome to episode 674. If you're listening to this, we're releasing this on GV Day, so we would appreciate it, after you listen to this or before, because you always pause this, come back and join the live celebration. It is our 10-year anniversary. It's going to be a good time. Check it out. The link is down below. Click on that. Lots of fun things happening. So if you're listening to that and you like what we do here, and you're like, oh, today's the day, obviously you can watch it after the fact, but come join live even for a little bit. We'd love to say hi or talk to you, whatever the case may be. But yes, we are here reviewing weapons, and it's interesting because we there's been an anticipated one, I think, for us. Kind of just snuck up on me because we've just been so busy with getting ready for this, and we just had lots of casts and reviews and newscasts, so it's been kind of snuck up on me here. But yeah, if you're interested at all too, you can go back. I think it was just I think it was just you and me, right, that did Barbarian. I don't think we talked about for Golden Geeks, but I don't think anyone else is on that review. But yeah, you can check that out. But yes, as usual, we're going to give our non-spoiler thoughts on this movie, and then we'll give a little ad break, and then after that, we'll get into full spoilers. So if you've not seen the movie, we'll give you fair warning before we start talking about the nitty-gritty and everything. And yeah, everything you need to know is down below. But Taylor Field, obviously, you were a massive fan of Barbarian, one of your favorite movies that year. What did you think of Zach Gregor's follow-up? His sophomore slump, sophomore victory? Who knows? But what did you think of him coming back and doing Weapons?
I going into this movie was, I don't want to say apprehensive, but I was uncertain. I wasn't sure how I was going to like it because yeah, for me Barbarian was just fantastic. It's fantastic, and I don't know how a movie like that could really be topped. So getting into this, I thought like the idea behind it maybe wasn't really going to with Barbarian, that story, I feel like I could really jive with it because I feel like, in a sense, it was written for a person like me that enjoys that specific style of zaniness and craziness and horror. So it really worked. And then this, I wasn't sure based on the trailers. Watching it completely blew my mind. Would I put it above Barbarian? I don't think I would. But it's just below by a smidge because I really like the experience of Barbarian and not knowing what to anticipate being in that theater. So with this though, and seeing it, I want to watch this again. I walked out of the theater like I wasn't jumping and like freaking out, but my heart rate was elevated
Running
at
in the
points
streets
and
back to your car.
running the streets back to my car. Yeah, it was just wow. There was a lot going on here, but at its core is very simple, and I loved how everything kind of just comes together, and it's just like wow, this is just absolutely wild. What a wild story, and the theme that they were tackling and then executing it as a horror film really worked for me. And like I said, I really liked it. I think everyone really came up to bat, and by the time you get to the point where okay, some serious shit is going down, I thought I was kind of figuring it out what was happening, but you still don't know any like the origin and what's going on. But then once you get into like that third act, it's like this is freaky. There's certain characters that I feel like I know these people in real life, which made it really even more
Oh, I hope
freakier.
not the old lady.
Yes, actually, which is it freaks me the fuck
Look out.
out. Yeah. Really freaks me out. But yeah, there's her, there's a guy, and there's a couple other individuals, but I'm not going to point names or point fingers, name whatever. But anyways, it was just a very freaky movie, and I'm really looking forward to watching it again because it's just absolutely wild, and I'm going to be recommending this movie to everyone that I see. So I'm so stoked. I hope that this guy pops off with another horror movie after this and keeps going.
You know what he's doing next. We already know. Remember, he's doing Resident
I
Evil.
forgot. Oh, he's doing Resident Evil.
Yeah, and then he's trying to pitch that
great.
DC film. We'll see. We'll talk about the newscast later this week because he keeps bringing up that Joker Harley henchman movie. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, we got Resident Evil coming next from him. So so I'm somebody that I remember when Barbarian came out, I enjoyed it, but the problem was I felt like it got overhyped for me. But at the same time, there's tons of people like Kirkland likes a lot like you, and I can see why, right? But I just didn't enjoy it as much as other people. I rewatched it this week, and I did enjoy it more than the first time. Not to the same point where I was like, oh, I'm locked in like the rest of those people. Like, no, I enjoy it, but then there's some issues I have with it, and that's pretty much how I feel about this. like what you said of what I prefer. I think I prefer this movie, but I think it's like a tie because I think Barbarian does some things better, and then has some weak points that this movie doesn't, and vice versa. There's some stuff like I don't think in Barbarian, for the most part, I was ever really scared or too creeped out. It's more like a disturbing thing when some stuff's revealed. Where this, there's some creepy stuff in here where kind of like, it's so funny because this was probably, I'd have to look at my list, but next to after Sinners, like, and next to Wallace and Gromit, of course. But like once I saw the trailer, this was up there as one of my most. It was up there probably as my most anticipated movie of the year. It was exactly like Long Legs, and I felt the same way as Long Legs as far as acts one, act two are fantastic, and act three is not bad. It's just different, and it's one of these things where it's a great big mystery that they've presented to you here in Weapons, and uh, like there was the answer you're gonna get. There's no. That's why I'll hear you in the spoilers. When you're like, oh, I almost figured it out. To me, it's like there's no figuring out because it's so original, and that's what I'll say as a reverse, as a positive. And that's why I'm still gonna rate this relatively high. I'd still recommend this to a bunch of people because I think one, like that third act could land for other people as well more than me, but the thing is there's so like if you're anybody, and we've talked about this before, but if there's anybody out there that does the, well, they don't make original films anymore, this is it right here. Maybe horror's not your genre, so I get it, but if you don't care about genre, this is very original. I'm sure there's some inspirations from different arts and works that Gregor would have took from it, but to me the concept and the idea, and even some of the like the structure of the film, that's not, like minor spoilers, but like you just watched Pulp Fiction tonight. Like there, it's that type of thing where it's like I said, my spoilers. It's not chronological, but so there's a few points like that. But the actual story and the revelations, those are very original, and I think there's some great creepy moments in here. I think there is some of that stuff where it's just like, man, what is going on? So that's a fun thrill ride. I recommend that, and I recommend everyone seeing this. But that's where I still think that unfortunately for me, the third act didn't reach the heights, like the revelation and then even the stuff that happens after the fact. And then above that, because that's where I think it is very similar to Long Legs, I think I do like Long Legs more than this because there's just different aspects in that hit with me, and I think I've liked that more another watch, where I'm excited to watch this again. But with Long Legs, I was like, oh, I really need to watch again to just feel like I get and see what I missed, where this is like, okay, I see what they're going for, and it's to me, it reminds me of like if you have like anthology horrors or like Goosebumps, where it's like sometimes the reveal is going to work for you and sometimes it's not. It's not that it didn't work for me. It was just like, oh, okay, but there wasn't more deep dived into it. And then, so putting that aside, I think the other thing is the pacing at times. I think its structure is really good, but then other times it slows it down. And I think the issue is I'll just say one character in particular and other character developments that maybe didn't need to happen because they didn't really lead anywhere. They didn't add much more to the story. I will say though that I love the Rolodex. I'm not going to say everybody because there's certain people that I didn't think were in the movie, but then I saw like an HD image. So I'm like, they must be in a trailer. I'll just say the Rolodex of people that Zach is using are like majority Travis actors, and that's my last point. I'll say is to non-spoilers is the performances are all top tier. I've been since this podcast started. I've been talking about Julie Gardner because Julie Gardner, one of my favorite actresses. I saw her when she was like, I don't know, like super young on the Americans, and that's where it's like, okay, she's a kid actress, and or like young adult whatever, and she's this good. It's like, okay, she's gonna be the bee's knees, and what a great year. I liked Wolfman a lot more than other people like you did, Taylor. I think she's great at Silver Surfer, even though it's a reduced role. But Julia Gardner is like I don't know as like overall, but at least for actresses, top 10, and I think she does phenomenal in here. Brolin, I was a little down on when he got cast because it was supposed to be Pedro, and then it went to Brolin. I was like, oh, like would prefer Pedro. Brolin's fantastic in here, and it's great to see him do something a little bit different than like the hard nose, like I'm Josh Brolin, I'm a badass type of thing. Like he's been doing that for a bit, even if it's like with a heart. And then there's other people I'll talk about later on in spoilers, or even stuff like Alden Ehrenreich. Again, not a great Han Solo. This is why. To me, it's like Eric Taylor Johnson. This fair game, when he plays like weird characters, even in Ironheart, I like him there. When he plays these type of characters, this is where he thrives. He's not like Eric Taylor Johnson, or he's like Taylor Johnson. He's not a leading man per se. He's a phenomenal supporting character, or a leading man, but a weird, kooky type of character. So, no, I thought this was still like a I'll say this: a very good movie, but great moments and great concepts in it. Like I said, I enjoyed a lot of it. Very original, some great shots in here. Good score that I'll definitely talk about when we come to Going Geeks and performances. So yeah, I was glad I watched this, but at the same time, it did not reach my expectations. It's nowhere up there with like Sinners or 28 Years Later. Like it wasn't even like close, or like Wallace Gromit, Life of Chuck. Like there's quite a few movies I'd put above, and I was a little disappointed by that. But I'm hoping the next time I see Zach Rager's work, I'm not going to be like a little let down, because I was with Barbarian and I was with this, but there's still very good original movies I'd say definitely go out and see and support, and they I think are a thrill ride because they're going to take you on a journey that you won't know what you're on for. So anything else non spoilers to talk about, Taylor?
I don't think so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So if you've not seen this movie, we're going to take our first ad break, and then when we're back, we're going to get into full spoiler, so you won't be safe. So we will be right back. And we are back. So that's something I want to get more into, but like I didn't want to go too full spoilers. So Taylor, how did you feel about the non-chronological? We start with oh god, what was our main character's name? It's
Is that
Jace.
Justine?
Yeah, Justine. We start with her, and it's just like the trailers. They show, okay, the kids go missing. She goes to school, and that's what her story pretty much is. It's just like, if you haven't seen the trailers, to set up everything that's missing, the kids that are missing, the situation. I really like the kid doing the narration at the beginning. I will say, and just this is, I think the movie has stuff like this throughout, little things at docked at points. When they, and I can't remember what song it was, but when they have the kids running at nighttime, I wish it was like a creepy score or something, but it was like a classic rock and roll song, and it just didn't work for me. Later on, they do that worked better, but I remember that footage when we talked about weapons and when they were releasing stuff like just security cam black and white of the kids running. I was like, that's some of the most horrifying stuff ever. When they presented in the movie, it didn't have that impact on me like I was hoping, and I think it was just purely song choice. I did not enjoy that aspect, but we get her story, and then obviously something big happens. She gets attacked, but then they cut, and then they go to next character, next character. What did you think about the way they told the story, as far as they kind of, maybe give you about, I'd say 20 to 25 minutes of a character, they stop and go to a chapter, and lots of time that chapter starts at the very beginning of the story or close to that, and then they catch up with it, or they stop at a different point. But yeah, what do you think about the non-chronological? Did that work for you here?
It completely worked, and I mean, non-chronological, I feel like it was pretty consistently pushing the narrative forward. When you get a couple of replays or a couple of events that are like parallel to what Justine's story is, but I really, really enjoyed it. I liked the different chapters, and there was a few that were just really catching me off guard when they throw in like James's story and whatnot, his arc, and how that kind of parallels with everything. It's crazy to see how all these characters and these different things kind of all connect at the end of the story in a very weird way. But yeah, I think it really, really worked for me. And hers definitely it concludes when she gets to the gas station, right?
Yeah, she gets attacked by
Yeah,
the vice principal, or the
Wong.
principal.
Yeah,
Yeah, which that's where it's like, so for me, and you were happy with all the characters, all the stories, everything like that.
I was there. There was maybe one other character I was hoping that we would have gotten an explanation for. Who
Who would
was
that
it?
be?
Oh man, God, why am I drawing a blank? Because I feel like there was one more character I wanted to see some more stuff with. Maybe it'll
Is
come
it the
back to
cop?
me.
Is it the like the sergeant, like All Reich's
Oh,
soon-to-be
it was no, it
father-in-law?
was the sergeant's daughter. Because I thought when we
Oh
get the scene of
man.
her attacking Justine, I thought we would have got like another sequence with her or something
Mm.
like that. But I mean, it's fine. She didn't play a major role at the end of the story, so.
Yeah, she's somebody I love. So she's an actress, but she's on a podcast I listen to weekly. It's called How This Movie Gets Made, and it's like, was an inspiration. We did Netflix and failed, where they just talk about bad movies. But yeah, it's June Diane Raphael. I did not know she was announced or run out. So when she popped up, and most of the time when she does stuff, it's all like comedic stuff. I think the only thing you may saw her in, well, you may saw her in two things. One, she was in Disaster Artist for a couple scenes, and
Mm.
then two, she's in. Did you ever watch that movie where Seth Rogen, and Charlize Theron are like political and they're a couple, and like they're not supposed to be dating or something like that? It's like a comedy.
I don't think I did.
But anyway, so most of her stuff that June does is all comedic. So it was cool to see that she was somewhat like a dramatic comedic, but that scene in the gas station, that's what I mean. That shot's so fantastic, where kids have gone missing, creepy stuff's happening. They don't set us up, because you're once the kids go missing, you're kind of dropped in the middle of the story for all of it, right? You're playing catch up, which is a good thing. So they set up that Justine is deals with it when she's stressed out, deals with her issues via liquor, right? And they don't dive too much deep into that. And I think that's probably another thing I guess dock it a little bit. Like I feel like that's the tough thing because I feel like there's Julie Gardner, there's the cop, there's the dad, there's the principal, there's the kid, and then there's the Austin Abrams, the stoner guy. There's the 6 stories, and that's the problem that you don't get to dive full into them. So she has a drinking problem. We don't really go back there, but anyway, she's going to this liquor store, and at this point, we've no like information all of June Diane Rayfield's character. So Justine walks. She gets out of her car. You can see someone in the distance park and just beelines to her, and you're like, man, what's going on? And they do this great thing where Julie Gardner goes in the liquor store she's walking. June walks in, and the second she starts to get close, they have Julie Gardner's character take a turn, and it takes the camera away, and you don't get to see her like make contact with her. And it's just like she's just like 2 to 3 feet away from getting her, and you're like, oh, this is something messed up. And then when you get there, it's just like, okay, it's somebody that's she had an affair with her husband, and it's like a personal issue. But the way that shot was fantastic because you didn't know what was going on, and great camera work by the team there. And very very embarrassing situation happened to you in public. So
Oh yeah, jeez, just brutal. I mean, she's 2 for 2 for embarrassing situations, being attacked in these public settings because she got Wong charged at her in the liquor store or the gas station, I
I'm
guess.
not going to count that as an embarrassing situation. I think that's worse than even though
Well, the
like
the owner was like, "Get out of my store!" To get the fight out. She's like, "Fucking help me!"
yeah, I found that weird. Like I was like I almost wish they did something where they had like a quick scene where they established the liquor store owner like did not care for her, like whether he was a parent or someone that was attached to them, because it felt weird of it's not just this guy's following her. Literally, Benedict Wong and Josh Brolin go flying in the guy's glass, like the freezer, and it's broken. There's blood everywhere, and he's like, "Get out of my like, do nothing." Which again, granted, maybe there's other homeless people, but at that point, you feel like you would phone them. But that was one thing that was weird for me, and this is where I think I can dock at points for character moments where I thought from the beginning because which again, great. I love in the world. They're just trying to figure out. There's not like, oh, right now we think like a serial killer took them or this and that. It's literally going with the supernatural. Like they're not saying supernatural, but just like these kids are missing. We don't know why. There's no like real, because I think sometimes some movies they want to do something supernatural, but they try to explain it. In a real world way, and it doesn't work out like
Mhm.
in a perfect sense that I thought was great. That was like Nightmare on Elm Street, where people are always dying, and that's always like, oh well, they killed themselves X, Y, and Z. But then you have something like Johnny Depp in the first one where he gets sucked through the bed and all his blood is shot up in the roof. It's like, well, there's no real world way you could explain this to anybody, right? And they just go on like, oh yeah, he killed himself. It's like, well, how did he kill, like what happened here? So I like that. Just like, yeah, these kids are missing, no one knows why. There's no theories, there's no leads. All they have is some footage, and that's about it. And one kid, which I think they left out of the trailers, which I like, they established that one kid was left behind. So it was a classroom of
Mhm.
18. And that to me, it wasn't a tip off, but it's like, I was like, okay, clearly it's something to do with this kid. It was like, that was a tough thing that you can't bear the lead there. But anyways, so they're done. I think they said it was like 2 to 3 months. They like shut down the school because it's just they don't know what's
For
going
one
on.
one month,
It
yeah.
was just 1 month. Jesus. So they shut down the school. They're going back, but before they're going to do that, they do like a town hall meeting, right? Terrible idea that they're going to put Justine up on stage to talk. Like, what's she going to say? Like, half the people think she might have done something, or that she knows more than she's letting on. But she, as far as in the story, at the end and the beginning, she's looked as like a complete innocent character. She's flawed, but they never in the story make you think at one point she's up to no good, right? They don't go that route. So she's up there, she talks, and they're motherfuckering her. They're all mad, and BD Wong like whisks her away. And I feel like throughout the story, they make it seem like BD Wong is like a pretty good guy who even says like, "Hey, don't do this. You could get fired." She does the thing, and he's like, "I'm giving you one more warning." I felt when he died, she didn't really care. She, like Josh
No.
Brolin, because like I know people, if they're hopefully you've seen the movie, Benedict Wong gets infected with this like voodoo sort of thing, which we'll get into. He's gonna kill Julie Garner's character. He's choking her. Big fight scene. He's running after, and great shots too, where he's running after the car, just like that's happening to me right now. And he's that I literally, oh, what happened in the theater when he's running the car and just another car just smokes him and he's dead. And of course his head's like impaled, but later on, her and Josh Brolin get out of the hospital, and he's like, "How are you?" She's just a little scraped up, and she's like, "You, how are you?" Like, "Oh, scraped up." Like, "That's crazy." Like, "Yeah, I talked to him earlier. Seemed fine." It just felt like she didn't care about him at all. Like there was no, like it felt like they gave to me them too many scenes for her to not feel shaken up at all. Not only did he die, he also tried to murder you. Like I felt like it was just, and I don't think it was an acting choice. I think it was a writing choice where they just made it seem like it could have just been a random stranger they fought.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair. I I'll take it as the fact that it was just a business relationship, and she was driving away, so she didn't see it happen, and she just would have been told that she was dead, as opposed to where with Paul she actually had to shoot him, and she was much more present for that experience. So but
Mm.
again, I think it's totally up to interpretation. She seemed pretty fine about it, but that whole scene just, I loved how it cut when she was running into the grocery or the gas station, and then we didn't get to see anything else until after when we saw
Yeah.
Marcus's kind of transition with Aunt Gladys. Fuck. I like that a lot.
Well,
That's where
we didn't get Aunt Gladys. We only got her once in that dream sequence
she was in the dream
with
sequence
Marcus and Julia Garner, which I don't know why.
with Marcus and Julia Gardner.
Isn't Marcus Josh Brolin? Or am I wrong?
I thought Marcus was the principal.
That's IMDb it. You might be right, but I will find out for sure
Because
here.
you're right, yeah, and that's where when she was popping up, I was trying to keep like, what the fuck is this thing? And I laughed out loud. I think the whole theater did when Josh Brolin wakes up from his dream and he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, you're right. So Benedict Wong was Marcus. Yeah, sorry, Josh Brolin was Archer. But
Archer,
yeah, that got
yes.
a big laugh, and the line delivery that was great, where he just great moment where he sees his son sleeping in the bed, and then like he shines a light, and it's the fucking Aunt Gladys, and good jump scare. I think that my not an issue, but my only issue is like between that and the Garner one. They set her up to be kind of like a monster, which like of course she's a monster, but she's not actually like a monster, right? She's just like a creepy old lady and stuff. But it worked out that way. I was gonna ask you though, if there's one story that I would have cut, what do you think it is?
One story that you would have cut, probably
Yeah,
James.
who's James?
He's the
Fuck,
druggie.
I'm forgetting. No, I'm fine with that one. I'm a big Austin Abrams guy, so and you're gonna laugh when I say it that it's Paul Aldenreich's character. But hear me out for a second. Yeah, Austin Abrams, I did not know was in this. I don't think I could cut that. I think you could make the case that it could be shortened. It depends. I like Austin Abrams, and I found that funny. But if I think you don't find that funny, the story does go on for a little bit. I think my issue was with the Paul story. They gave us so much backstory on Paul, like with his marriage and his drinking problem and his relationship with Justine. For him just to get killed, and again, like she had a reaction, but they kind of just move on from it. I think you could easily just had him in Justine's care and story of he's an ex, he cares about her. So later on, when she sees him, you've already established, oh, that's the cop that
Right.
I used to date and love and have a relationship with. He cares me. You like even then when it's like him not responding to text, you could have made that they just recently broken up. I just felt like, and don't be wrong, I actually liked that guy that played his father-in-law, that actor, and they had like a good, like, oh, anniversary day. Like I liked the stuff in it. I just thought it kind of, because the problem was we got Justine and Archer's story, and then I believe it was Paul's, right? Or did we get Marcus's
I
after
think Paul
Archer?
Paul came after Archer. I'm pretty sure.
So I think that was the problem where those ones I think were really picking up the pace, and then I think Paul with what's the druggies guy name? You were
James.
James. I think back to back there was like that was a longer stretch, and I just feel like the emotional stuff and the character stuff, like the stuff with his wife, the alcoholism, his his the sheriff being his father-in-law, the fact that they just kind of kill him didn't matter. And I guess the thing is because I can't remember. There's a movie we reviewed recently where they did that and they kill. Oh, I think it was Sinners. Me and Kirkland talked about where they, that's why all these characters have these big stories, so you care about them. I guess my only issue was I just didn't end up caring about Paul enough. I felt like I needed more stuff. So I think pacing wise, that slowed it down a little for me. That I just. Even though I don't think the stuff in there was bad per se, I think there was some great comedic stuff, and the stuff with James was good. I just felt for the overall story, maybe you could have even just tightened it up a little bit.
Yeah, I was not expecting Alden to be in there, and I like Paul's
Mm.
character. just I like that you don't really understand what's going on, and then Justine's like, oh, Donna, and this is, so then you kind of unfolds. And I didn't think they had actually slept together. I thought maybe he just passed out or something
Oh,
like that, but no,
you
yeah,
fool.
they slept together for sure. But everything was just, man, it just made me cringe when he's like, got anything sharp in your pockets, James? I don't want to get pricked. And he's
No,
puts
sir.
his whole hand in there, and just the blood on his finger. It's like, oh my fucking god. And then I knew it was coming at this point when he stabs his face with 3 needles. Like, Jesus Christ, this
Yeah,
is brutal.
I knew it was him too. Like the what like the tent stuff, right?
Hmm.
That's a good, and
Hmm.
that's the same thing. Well, okay. I'll circle back to it, but good jump scare as far as James runs in the wood. He sees her waving
Very
high.
Pennywise like, right?
Very
Like,
Pennywise, yeah.
jeez.
Sees that happening, and then he gets in his like little drug tent. He zips it up, and then it's unzipping. And I was like, "You're right. I know this is all Nairn, right? He's gonna get stabbed in the fucking like." I didn't think 3 needles in the face. I thought there might be a hand again, but like the fact he just got stabbed again, and like you got AIDS, you got a hip C. Like, no, not that I know of. So that was good. What I was gonna ask you, and I think it's I guess can still work because she's using kind of magic and dark magic stuff, but I guess with the reveal, felt like that moment with James and then the two dream sequences with Archer and Justine, I think visually and kind of mood wise, vibes wise, are done very well. But as far as for the actual story, they never once made that like, why would that character be waving at James? It's not like when you brought Pennywise, where Pennywise can get in your head and he knows he's coming for you or you're coming for him, right? Where that like it was Gladys, right? Who it
Yeah,
was? Yeah.
yeah.
Like they never hinted at that being a thing. So like why would she be stalking, like even dream stalking this James guy? And the other two haven't like Archer and Justine still hadn't interacted with Gladys, but I could maybe buy that maybe they had seen her at school or seen something or even
Well, Gladys
newspapers,
sort of
right?
did interact with her at this point because
Yes,
she
right?
was sleeping, and that scene was fucking
When she's
freaky
on the
when
rooftop.
on the roof.
When or like yeah, when Justine wakes up and she's on the roof, like of the bed.
That
She's a
was freaky. That
lampshade.
was freaky.
Okay,
But
that one.
I think it was before that happened when Justine was camping outside of Alex's house in her car, and you just see Alex's mom being controlled by Gladys walk
Oh
out
yeah.
freakishly, and just when she stands there by her driver's side door and walks, and they do a great job. They don't show it, but you hear the door fucking open, and it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh,
I was like, what is gonna?
jeez.
And when she started to cut herself or cut the scissors, I was getting hereditary flashbacks when you hear like the and you're like,
Mhm.
that's what at first I thought like, oh, is this person like killing herself in her car and she's gonna get pinned on? Yeah, that whole sequence that might be the best sequence of the movie. I know some people are gonna say probably the ending with the kids, but for me, because also just the way they had her walk out of that house, like she doesn't walk out like even a possessed,
Ugh.
like she's like a scarecrow, you know, like
Mhm.
it's that
Mhm.
like it was unsettling. No score, like it was fantastic. So yeah, that. But so like I can kind of buy them, but like how do you take the dreams? Because they never make that a thing where oh this character is like attacking your dreams or using magic that way. Especially for me, the hang up is James because that jump scare doesn't really make sense to me with her in the woods. They didn't interact at
The
all.
only
You
thing I
know.
can think of is like maybe it's just like she's targeting and it's like a foreshadow. I mean, that did happen after James went into the house, and Gladys was probably cognitive that he was in there because she did send the two parents to attack him, right? So
Yeah.
there's probably, I think it's maybe something along those lines, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just something that maybe I'll wait and hear to other people's theories and explanations. I just think even the dream sequences with, because I just feel like if you're doing the dream sequences, shouldn't there be a way to take them out? I can even believe, like you said with Gardner, with Justine. Okay, I can believe that because she is targeting her. Where Archer, like she doesn't know that's happening at all, right? Like there's nothing at that other than him just being a depressed dad. There's no he's on the mission. He hasn't interacted with Gladys yet, so I feel like I need to
Hmm.
see some stuff. But that's where stuff I felt like it was kind of substance over or sorry, style over substance, where it's like, oh, we're gonna do some really cool scary stuff here, and it was. But when you think about it overall, it doesn't really makes sense to me right now. Maybe it will down the line. But yeah, great stuff, great horror stuff. Like when because we'd seen the trailer, but that's why even showing the whole movie when Justine's dream and she goes back to school and it's just Austin there and he goes up and he has like the Joker face. Like that's some creepy stuff going on there, and I think that
Hmm.
was good stuff. I thought. There's something else I was gonna bring up here, but I think I'm forgetting about it. So I don't know. Where do you want to go?
Oh, where do we want to go? I guess just like the voodoo concept in general.
Yeah. So
Really
how were you
caught me
happy
off
with that
guard.
reveal? Yeah,
I
because
liked it. I liked it a lot. I think yeah, it caught me off guard. Was not expecting it, and I thought, okay, when Aunt Gladys appeared, that just yeah, it freaked me out. And yeah, I do know someone who is they they talk a little bit more voodoo-y than Gladys does, but they kind of look like her. It's just very unsettling, very unsettling. I could see the person when I was looking at Aunt Gladys, and just her as the story goes on and what she's dealing with Alex, and just how the parents are there. And I know we kind of saw it in the trailer, but just this scene was just freaky when she like snaps her twig, and then the parents start stabbing their face with a fork, fucking on a repeat.
yeah,
Just was cringy and uncomfortable, and then her just doing her weird shit in the house and all that. And I'm glad they explained a couple things. Okay, they knew that the FBI was coming to the house, so they had to clean it up and all that. And then
yes, because right away I was like, because so many movies, which I think Barbarian, I think Gregor does a good job of always trying to cover his tracks. 'Cause I remember with Barbarian, which I still had some issues, right? That she like goes back in the house and they make it where she's like the cops think she's homeless, right? So it's like
yeah,
that's why they don't help her. But I still felt like there's more way. Like there's like say something else happened, go to a different state. Like I felt like there was greater things you could do there. But I understood whatever situation reduced very quicker. But I like that he tried. Same thing here when it's like they're coming over and I'm like, okay, how can I believe that one they're not going to see? And I still question the parents a little bit when they're like, oh yeah, she like, oh he just had because they show the dad like, oh he just had a stroke recently. So it's like, well, what did they say with the mom then? Because we didn't see the
yeah,
mom. So it's like that would feel odd that both the parents are like in a comatose type of state. So again, that to me I think was a little loose. But the kids thing I appreciate because I'm like, how do they not fucking check the basement? If this is a situation, doesn't matter. If all the kids went missing and your kid didn't, and there's no proof of why this happened, I don't care. Your whole fucking house is getting checked. So I did appreciate though that they show that she took the voodoo and made the kids like go hide somewhere else,
yeah,
like in the woods or something, and then come back. So I do appreciate that he does always try, even if it doesn't always work for me or it might be a little loose, that he tries to give a reason in world why they haven't been discovered by the police. Because like both of his movies are set in present day, right? And it's so hard to do that now, where there's cameras and social media. Like it's hard to cover up with that stuff. So I appreciate where there's many horror movies that don't. They don't care. They would never explain that, and it's like, oh yeah, they just didn't figure it out because it is like a big leap. Because like I said, like I think they do a good job of setting the stakes of this town is really mad and really damaged from just like it's not like a kids dying, they're just missing, they have no answers, right? And that's where I
that's
love
right.
I love that scene with Archer where he's with the sheriff and he's just like pissed off and he's talking about all these theories and everything about like how the teacher knows some must have did something, and it's just like I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like we have footage of a bunch of kids running on their own. Like, and he's like, "What do you like?" And obviously, the reveal is something supernatural. But to that person, it's like, "What do you want? Like, how can I arrest that woman?" We have no idea. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think it really really worked with me and everything with Gladys, and yeah, just that whole conversation that he was having with Archer and the sheriff, just like, oh, it doesn't make any sense. What's going on? And just it's I like how Archer kind of got really crafty with it and just kind of like figure out the trajectory and
mm,
everything going on. And at this point, I was convinced that it was zombies. And then when we get to the point where Archer's looking
zombies.
into it now, and that yeah, just because of seeing Wong in the trailer and just seeing his look and everything, I thought, okay, it's some
But
kind
why
of
were you thinking?
zombie thing.
Why were you thinking zombies for the kids initially running away?
Because I thought even with the name weapons, it was going to be some secret weaponized drug or something. I don't
Okay,
know. I'm not sure. Even when I thought it was like a paranormal zombie kind of thing. Because I remember in the trailer they showed the salt, the line of salt, and like the crossing of
right.
it, but they didn't show really the parents and obviously what was going on in that context. So it's hard to kind of keep up with that in the trailer sense. But at this point now, that's when I thought, okay, there's something else going on here, and Archer obviously digs more into it. And I love when Justin Long appears there and the
I'm glad he
wife
showed him out.
standing
Yeah.
in the side of the hall, just super pissed at him.
Sarah
That was good.
Paxton, she was big in our age.
Sarah
Remember
Paxton.
Aquamarine? She's in a bunch of those type of stuff.
Oh
If you were to look
shit,
her up,
she
she'd
looked
be in.
familiar. She looked
Yeah.
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, Justin Long. That's another one where it's like I got Austin Abrams, I got June Day Rainfield, I got Julie Gardner, and then Justin because he was such a delight in Barbarian.
Oh yeah.
It sucks. It does sucks. Like it's good that he's in there. I wish he was in something bigger, but I hope that this is like a reoccurring thing. I hope in every Zach Rager like Justin Long pops up like
Resident Evil.
unadvertised.
He's coming.
Absolutely, get him in there. And Justin Long, because to me, he's a very underrated actor. So when he popped up in there, I liked where Archer just gets strong-willed by the mom. Like, I'm not showing you that footage. Like, I don't feel comfortable. Like, you gotta leave. And he just waits for the husband, who's like gonna bend over backward. Justin Long plays him as like you can tell already. Like he's one hurt, obviously because his kids was a bit kind of comes off like a little pathetic, right? And like, yeah, like what do you need? And then boom, they're in the room, and he lost the argument, and he's showing the footage, but. It did help, and then luckily it kind of got him on the track to start leaving Justine because that guy. So obviously he did paint They show the scene where he got the wrong paint. He's like a construction worker, so what he uses that paint for is to paint witch on the teacher's car. Do you think he was also doing the knocking and the doorbelling just to fuck with her,
Oh
or do you
yeah.
think that was man?
I think
What
that was him.
the pain I get as like a 40, 50-year-old man. I don't get the fucking like just like Josh Brolin like ringing, like running away. Like imagine someone seeing that, be like, what the fuck is Archer doing out there? But because yeah, he's fully convinced it's her. But then once he sees what happens with Benedict Wong, which I appreciate that he like 3 times like saved Julie Gardner, so it's like okay, because I wasn't sure if he was gonna take that as like, oh yeah, you clearly did something, maybe you did something to him, but he starts to put together like, okay, something's going on. I thought a very brutal scene of how they turned Benedict Wong, where it's just like him and his husband, and they had some weird dinner set up where it's like carrots, ranch dip, and like 6 hot dogs on a tray, but they're gonna watch some programs together. Fucking Gladys shows up because great scene too before where when they set up that he has to Julie Garner again, like it's a string of good scenes. That's why I said before, like I have some issues, but see it because there's so much good stuff in there. When Julie Gardner goes to check on Austin, or was it Austin, right, the little kid? I think so.
Alex.
Or Alex. I said Austin, so I apologize before. And she goes to the house, and all the houses have newspapers on the windows, and she looks in one window and sees like the parents sitting there, and they're just like statues pretty much. Great little reveal there. But when she like makes the case of okay, child endangerment, and Bennett Wong gets involved, like okay, half gonna talk to the guardians just to make sure that Alex is doing fine. And Gladys has to come because obviously she has these people under voodoo. They can't go. Great shot when she's walking through the glass, and because like her wig and the bright color, like you just see like the silhouette of her coming, and it's great. And Bennett Wong's face is like, what's going on here? But he establishes like, hey, it doesn't matter if you're the aunt, how well you know the family. Like, I need to speak to a guardian. So they set up that like Gladys is like her the rope is starting to fall, which again, even then though, it's like once you end up dead, like eventually some like is gonna pick up what she's doing, but that's fine. So she decides, okay, well, Benedict Wong, he has to go. She shows up to his place, needs some water, and they let him in, which I love that Mark is like, yeah, like telling his husband like not to let her in, like pretty like he's trying to be nice, but the husband lets her in, and he does the voodoo, where the voodoo is she has some tree that's grown, she has a branch, she has thorns, so she cuts herself, gets a bunch of blood, wipes it all over the thorns, she gets a piece of the person's hair that wants to be killed or taken over and wraps around this thing, and then breaks and does their command. The only way to stop it is dropping in water. And yeah, poor Marcus and his husband, which I'm pretty sure that is the director that was playing Benedict Wong's husband. I think that's Zach Greger. I haven't seen him much,
Okay.
but yeah, Benedict Wong just headbutts him to shit, and he's just like a broken skull, and then he just runs out of there. So terrible ending for that character, who was relatively like just a good guy, like nothing like that deserved any of that fate. But then after that kills when Josh Brolin's character's kind of like, okay, I don't think this teacher is not a bad person. Like this teacher clearly is looped into something here, and they get the map and stuff. But yeah, no, I thought there were some good reveals there. And yeah, the voodoo, like I wasn't thinking of voodoo. I thought it was going to be like, I think we talked about this before, trailers, like a Sinister situation, where we're not saying like Sinister, but like a Bagul, where it's something grand or supernatural, especially with kids. It's like, is that a play on the boogeyman or what it may be? But it was like, obviously voodoo is still supernatural, but that's more just to the point. And they never explained, why do you think she wanted all those kids?
Um, Rejuvenation, I'd say. Because that's what
Okay.
they were hinting at with the parents. And she's like, oh, the parents, they're not really able to help me or anything like that.
Yeah, fair. So, and they never said that. I don't need that. That's fine. But yeah, that's where she got all these kids to run, and they were just chilling in her basement. And yeah, and then what did you feel about the James character? Because that's one we haven't talked about. He pops up, and that's where I got very excited because I didn't know Austin Ames was in this. I knew we heard rumors, and he is the lead of Resident Evil. But when Julia Garner goes to the liquor store the first time, he is at the door like busting and asking her for money, and I saw him, and I'm like, oh, there's fucking Austin Abrams. I can't wait. And man, did he deliver here? He's playing like a meth head who's just like stealing stuff, trying to get money, X, Y, and Z, but does a really great job. But he gets looped in this because he just ransacks that house and then finds all those kids in there. And of course, the kids has a $50,000 reward. But yeah, what do you think about all this?
I almost thought he was like the older brother or something like that. And he was going back
Mm.
to his family house and he was kicked out. He was going to steal some stuff. But no, not the case. He just happened along that house, unfortunately for him. And yeah, everything with that just it worked for me. The character was really really good, and you felt like crap for him, I guess, to a point. And yeah, him trying to get the reward was very very fitting. The phone calls were very humorous, and then his dynamic with Paul was it worked with me. Just when he's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the station and like say what I know, and just Paul is like, I told you to fucking never go back.
Don't
I
you ever
just
show back up?
charged at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, just brutal, brutal. And then obviously with what follows, but their whole dynamic, like I thought things were gonna work out fine when they're at that house, and Paul goes in and knocks on the door and everything, and James is like, "What the fuck? What's going on?" And then when it cuts and it's like just all nighttime, it's like, "Oh fuck, okay, now you know shit's not
Poor
good
guy
here."
just left in there for hours and then gets pulled out. And yeah, same thing. He didn't have a good ending as well, too. He got headshotted and killed because they made when you get infected by this voodoo, you're impervious to pain, and even stuff like at one point Paul gets shot in the throat and he's still going. But if it's like a clear headshot or something like that, a kill shot, that will stop you, which I like. I think that's a good way to still put limits on the body. You know.
The audience at my theater was just in tears laughing just with the whole Archer and Paul or sorry Archer and James thing when just
Oh
like
yeah.
Archer would just boom and then he's like and then he just wakes back up and then knocked out and wakes back up just that was killing at my theater.
Yeah, my theater liked that too. So, yeah, let's take our probably last ad break, then we'll be right back. And we're back, so we can talk about I think another good, really good thing. And this is like a slower part of the movie, but when you get to Alex's story, just because it's such a sad like you go from little kid living his life just like and what I like about it is too that they set up the parents to be like caring parents but normal parents as far as like hey you know your room's dirty like you know it's not fair that we clean it you got to do that but there's still love there with the parents. So for me, what I really liked is you set the kids up life to be pretty normal, right? And they show that there's like some like bullying going on, but that's not the reason. He doesn't give up the kids, saying like, "Oh, maybe you know, Aunt Glass, you could take them out." Because yeah, what happens is the setup is that the parents tell Alex like, "Hey, your aunt's really sick. We've not seen her many times, but she's gonna come stay with us because she has nowhere to stay." And then already night one, like the parents, they're just staring at the table, like they're sitting at the table, just staring at each other. They're just pretty much look like they are vegetables, but they're still alive. And he has to, you know, give them soup and feed them and not tell anyone because Gladys says, hey, if you tell anybody, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to hurt your parents. And she does an example by she makes them like take forks and just stab themselves in the face. So it's a great setup of like, of course, yeah, why would a kid not say anything? There's terrible things happening in their home, but it's literally, hey, I'm going to kill your parents. And at this point, they've showed the parents to be caring and loving. So you wouldn't want that, right? It's not like a broken household or anything like a Leon the Professional or something. So that happens. And I thought it was just like a good, very depressing, you know, story and montage of Alex. What he does, he goes to school every day and he feeds his parents and he just sits there quietly and he does rinse, repeat. And then when all the kids are there, it's worse because not only does he have to feed his parents this can soup, he has to feed these kids. So I thought it was just so depressing when you're seeing the innocence of a child just be taken away. And it
For a
just, I think,
month.
for a month, yeah, and I think it really does a good job of it doesn't it makes you like Gladys as like a performance wise, because I think the actress does a phenomenal job, but like you're not rooting for this villain at any point. And then the ending, like we talked about, where you know our two characters, Justine and Archer, start to figure out. Paul and James kind of get in there, I would say semi accidentally in a way. They get possessed, they fight, and then eventually the kid has seen, Alex has seen this enough that, okay, I'm gonna make it do my own voodoo. He does it. He gets all the kids to run after Aunt Gladys, which is
That
a
was so good. I love that scene.
yeah, which is a really good scene because it's just like a bunch of tracking, a bunch of like glass runs through a house and the kids burst through the rooms. It's not like a continuous one shot, but there's lots of one shots. It's played up to be like somewhat, it feels similar to Barbarian, where it's played up to be like somewhat comedic, and then when they get her, they just rip her apart.
God
And
damn.
but yeah, Taylor, what do you think about the ending here with the Alex and the kids go after him? You talk about a little of the brawling and whatnot, but yeah, how did Glass's ending go for you?
Everything that these possessed people do, they do under the command of Gladys. Like she's telling them, she's talking to them, telling them what to do. So when you see Paul walk out of the house and motion very freakishly, like why the fuck would you trust that? Motion
Mm.
them to come in. And then they come in. Gladys is telling them to do that. How did Gladys know that they were out there? How did Gladys like? She's obviously very intelligent, very tactical, and very smart. But it's just, I don't understand how she was preconceived, knowingly under like precognitively aware that was going to happen, because she set traps for them. And you could see when they walk in the house, you could see James in the corner there, and then obviously there's the line of salt. And I
Mm.
like that Archer caught on to that right away, but it was too late. As soon as she steps on the salt, and they just fucking charge.
Yeah.
And then the scene when Alex like decides to do it, and he steps on
And
the
Gladys
salt, and the
said
parents
don't step on that salt. So she
don't
did
step on that
warn him.
salt.
So yeah.
She did, yeah, but he knew he had to get in there, and I like the child actors were fucking incredible in this. They did such a good job. Alex did such a good job, and he just had
Yeah,
to be very
absolutely.
like a
Yeah.
stagnant, like calm, depressed kind of terrified kid. But I like how it paid off when he learned and he figured out how to do the ritual, and so him running from the parents, the mom in so many of these scenes just was fucking terrifying, especially that camera angle when he's sitting on the floor back against the bathroom door and he's doing his thing, and you're waiting for Gladys to get killed, and like the camera is his perspective and he looks up at the door that's being smashed and the mom's
Yeah.
head is in the door looking down at him screaming. Fucked, and just terrifying. So many of those kind of shots were so top tier in this movie. So yeah, I really really like that. And yeah, just everything with the kids breaking out, and Gladys, just 5 minutes of Gladys fucking keeping, like she was pacing herself well. She was
Yeah, for someone
clocking
that's
those
sick,
steps in. Oh yeah,
But
she
I
was
guess it's
doing good.
adrenaline because you know you're dead because she
Well, and
knows
the
what
kids
happens,
healed
right?
her,
So,
right? Yeah, she knows what happens, but the kids healed her, right? It was just the kids screaming and her just running to all these people's houses, going, oh no, oh no, oh no, and the kids are just a fucking wave of 17 kids just charging her. I loved it when they're jumping through the windows, just going
yeah,
full
and the
berserk.
reactions of the people's in those house, like Archer walks away, like, "No, there's a man in our house." Like, yeah,
Yeah,
there's some good stuff
and
there.
the
So,
dad too, and he's like, "Oh, they ruined the lawn, honey." Just-
yeah, they have no idea what's going on. There's a one good shot too where I think there's like a guy walking a dog, or he's like a mailman, and he looks at a house because he hears the commotion. And you just see Gladys run by, and then
oh, he's
they give
mowing
it a
the
beat or
lawn.
two.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
they give it a beat or two, and then it's like then all the kids follow her, and yeah, there's some good stuff. That's like a very great sequence in the theaters and fun just to watch with people and see what's going on there. And hey, it's make a character that's a terrible piece of shit. They gave her a satisfying ending as far as just being destroyed by these kids. So
Yeah, what a way to go. Like I thought they were just going to be like choking her and punching her, but when you actually see them rip the top of her head off, it's like
yeah,
holy shit. Which another thing too, that just gross when uh gosh, why can't I? Justine's character takes the potato peeler off the
oh
counter and just
yeah,
goes like two full strokes right underneath the sideburns on his cheek, on his face. Fuck.
it's gonna burn. It's gonna
Oh
burn.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and then what I found was, which is, I don't know how I feel about it. It's an interesting choice, so I put it in the positive. But then the little girl who was telling the story, because it's almost like a folk tale, right at the beginning about like, oh, why how it happened. And it's told like with a kid, she uses like says like and ums and things we sometimes say on the podcast, like as I just did. It feels more just like a schoolyard story that they're spreading. But what I
Hmm.
found is very interesting that, okay, so they kill Glass, which I guess the kid knew which branch to get to control the kids, because I didn't understand why all the voodoo people weren't going after Gladys then, right? Because he gets a branch, breaks it, cuts himself, puts Glass's hair, and then breaks it. I'm just headcanon that he knows this part of the tree does this for that, but it feels odd that the other people
I
wouldn't go
think
for it, right?
he. How does that work? So the specific branch has an item of the person and their hair of the target, right?
Okay.
So he knew, obviously, she had to keep these kids here. She was controlling them. Just like she probably had a branch for the parents somewhere, but
Yeah.
she kept the branch there for the kids. And so he knew to grab that
True.
specific
Okay.
one.
Yeah. Then I can that all works for me then, and not that this point doesn't work for me. I just found it very interesting that, okay, they kill Gladys when that happens. That does kind of like break the curse overall. So the parents snap out of it because Archer at one point they kill Paul, and like I said, like a little emotional there for Julia Gardner. I think acting wise was great, but it's there wasn't too much more with the character and their dynamic. I think that's why they could have just had been like a X's and drop a lot of his stuff. But Archer's choking her, and then which is kind of funny. I feel like when he gets out of the trance, same thing. He just like drops Justine. He's just like looking for his son. He's like, Matthew, Matthew, like didn't even check. Like he probably broke this woman's windpipe. But what I found was an interesting choice is Justine goes upstairs, sees Alex, he's talking to his parents, and then the kid starts to narrate again and says that he ended up with an aunt that's now like a nice aunt, not like Aunt Gladys, but pretty much that his parents were probably committed somewhere that they didn't recover from
I
this.
think they're kind of fucked, yeah.
Yeah, and then they kind of said that about the kids, where they said, they got them back, but they weren't really the same. And they said, like, only a few of them have said a couple words. And that's where it's like, that, like I said, very interesting choice. It reminds me a lot of Barbarian, where, spoilers for that movie if you've not seen it, so skip ahead, where at the end of that movie, obviously, you got Justin Long, you got the main character, and you got the Barbarian, like the mother, right? But when our main character has to kill the mother, she like thinks the monster's like, oh, you're my baby. Like it's very like only melancholy and very sad that, okay, like I obviously have to kill this thing because I'm never gonna escape. But it's not like a big win. It's not like a hell yeah. Like it's not like, and don't get me wrong, this is a good thing. It's like, let's say Mia in Evil Dead, where when she gets that chainsaw, you're like, yeah, destroy this thing, right? Where this is like, oh, it's sad. Same thing here, where, okay, of course they get the kids back and everything, but it's not just like, oh, the curse is snapped, everyone's okay. It's those parents are done, and
Hmm.
it sounds like these kids have, I would say, like just all like big mental challenges now, where whether they can maybe recover, maybe it's something that eventually after 20, 30 years they can be normal people. But the fact that these kids are, I'd say in middle school, like mid middle school, then we go into high school, and they talk like the person that's narrating makes it sound like it's been a couple years at least, or however. I'd have to watch that again. But the fact that these kids, some of them don't even fully recover, is like, man, that's what a bummer. Like like that's pretty messed up. So yeah, what did you think about that ending there?
Yeah, I took it as the kids that talked, they made a comeback, they bounced back. But yeah, the parents, the moment I saw that, okay, she died, Gladys died, and then Alex was hugging the parents, and you see that shot of them, I was like, oh no, the parents are toast. They're out to lunch. They're not present cognitively. So uh yeah, but other than that, I was fine with the ending. I thought it worked out, and
Well, I don't
yeah,
know
it's
if it
just,
worked out, but they got them
well, I mean, the
back. But
parents
it's
the parents
still,
got the kids back. I think that
you
was
get like
definitely
a
the main
shadow
thing.
kid back though for a while, and some of them, I don't know if all of them recover.
Yeah, I'm gonna headcanon that it takes a little bit longer and they do come back, but
But we
but
don't
it's
know for
so
sure.
far we don't
They
know
didn't
for
say that,
sure.
so that's why I was like,
Hmm.
they went with this really downer ending, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but it's just like, man, yikes, you got everyone back, but at what cost?
Yeah,
So, and
yeah.
obviously you want them back, but it's just like, oof, they're
Hmm.
like I said, they did a good job of having that dread throughout the movie. So,
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we haven't talked about, touched upon, you want to say before we get out of here?
One more scene that I really
Hmm.
enjoyed too was when Archer was down there and he's trying to find his son Matthew
Oh,
and goes kid to kid and he glances to the side and you see Gladys just crouched and smile just sprouts up on him. It's like fuck. When she wasn't in the bath or in the bedroom when Alex was in there, I thought, oh, she's totally in the fucking basement just waiting down
yeah.
there this whole time.
He should have fucking tossed her like he did to James, you know? His
Yes,
strength was
yeah.
gone all of a sudden there. But
Hmm.
yeah, good scene. Even though I was like, why is she just kind of like sitting there? I guess like I guess to get him right. She did that so she could have control of him so he'd go attack Julie Gardner, right? So that all worked out. I thought it was like she deliberately looked like a I liked the scare. I think they could have done another take because I felt like the actress looked like she was really in like a horror movie. Like it just felt like an unnatural. Like why is she posing like this? But it was a
Yeah.
good jump scare nonetheless. So and yeah, he got his son back, I guess. So
Hmm.
hopefully he's not sleeping in that bed anymore. Which again, that was a fun kind of callback where he's sleeping in a Batman bed and he was almost Batman in BVS. So that was kind of funny that that
Right.
happened. So
Hmm.
yeah, well, yeah, because you just went. I'll go. Yeah, overall, like I said, kind of similar to the opening. Great time at the theaters. I think it's a very, very good for as far as being original, top tier marks. Maybe not everything hits. I got some issues here or there, but I didn't regret my time. And it's still at the point where, hey, next time, obviously Resident Evil, I'm a fan of that franchise, so he's doing that. But even if it wasn't, if it was just like another original IP, it's like okay, it wasn't just like he had a great idea, great execution with the Barbarian, but the next go around, maybe not as much. It shows okay, two under the belt to me, two for two, a very good original horror concept, which is one of my favorite genres. And yeah, as far as right now, if the quality keeps like this movie is like a Barbarian for me, where it's not like another, it's not a 10 out of 10, but again, I'm gonna give this movie an 8 out of 10. If you really enjoyed an 8 out of 10, that can still get me to the point where hey, I want to see your work. Not everything has to be this is the best horror movie last decade. No, it's just a very very good horror movie to me. I don't like, and maybe when I rewatch it, I'll say it's great. Like I said in the opening, I think there's great sequences, and I think especially the first act, that to me is great. That's like a 10 out of 10, really no notes. But there's a few things throughout that kind of bring it down for some stuff we talked about that I think is clear cut, and some stuff that maybe I need to rewatch and think about. Because even Long Legs, I had that where I watched it and then I did enjoy it more, and Barbarian I enjoyed more. And that's where I think with horror and when they go original and it's not like a remake or an IP where we know all the beats, when it's introducing a new, context or world, you do need to sit with those a little bit because you're not preconceived as far as you haven't thought about before, right? Like the next time we get a Nightmare on Elm Street, I know how the dream world works, so that's already done. That homework's complete, right? Where this whole branch of voodoo, that's something else. So, but yeah, an 8 out of 10 for me. So, and I think that's what I'd give I think Barbarian I give like a 7.5 retroactively. I'd give that 8. So yeah, both of them to me are 8 out of 10. And yeah, that's where I am. And definitely some stuff in Golden Geeks I'll talk about. Maybe not like everything. I don't know if I'd be fighting for best film. You never know what's in there though, as we saw last year with the Dune controversy. But yeah, I would definitely bring this up again at the end of the year. But yeah, how about yourself? Final thoughts and a rating?
Yeah, so like I said at the start of the show, I went in thinking it wasn't going to be necessarily suited to me and my tastes after seeing Barbarian because Barbarian was just what an experience. But I was pleasantly surprised. This movie it kept me engaged with the different chapters and the story and them incorporating the voodoo and just how freaky these people were when they got possessed and everything with Gladys. It was really really working for me. So I'm not gonna give it the same rank I gave Barbarian because I'm pretty sure that was a full 10 out of 10. I'm gonna go 9.5 though because for me it's
Ooh.
close. It's really close behind, and it's just such a dang good movie. This is one that I want to buy for sure and add to the shelf because I'm happy to be in this new age. Like usually when Halloween rolls around, I'm popping the classics on. I
Mm.
cycle through uh Friday 13th, Halloween's, the old ones and Wrong Turns and all that kind of stuff. Those older spooky horror movies, Child's Play and Jaws. And so just to be here and have a roster of modern day horror movies, it chapter 1 that's on our rotation, Long Legs, Barbarian, and now Weapons. Like it's really really nice to just be able to cycle through these newer ones. Yeah, and this is definitely on that list of Halloween films to cycle through, and yeah, I'll be recommending it to people for sure. It's got a lot of spook to it, a good little bit of comedy, and
Hmm.
visually, it's just the way they shot some of the scenes and did some stuff is really, really good. And I enjoyed everyone's performances in this movie. It's all around. I just had a dang good time, and I was seeing it alone too, so didn't really feel alone, I guess, with the other people in the theater. But no, it was great. It was really, really good.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, let us know whether it's on YouTube, Patreon, the Discord, your thoughts. I know a couple of our patrons have seen it already. So yeah, let us know. And we don't know when. I think it's well, I won't give a date yet. We're gonna talk about, but the next 2 weeks we're gonna be doing an after nine. I think we're gonna be really talking about from June till now the summer movies because I think most of them are out now. So we can have a good conversation with all the patrons and whatnot and see what people's thoughts and takes are. But yeah, everyone, we'll be back maybe next week with another GeekVerse episode, and I promise you, it'll not be boring.